Yo, what is up guys? I'm bringing you a brand new video, and this time we're talking about AFK combat dummies and what are the best XP and SP buffs you should be using. We're going to focus mostly on cheap buffs that last a long time. We're not really going to talk about 530 scrolls and 600% because those are kind of a waste to use on dummies, but I'm going to show you the ones that are the best to use and last the longest and are quite cheap. So first of all, if you want AFK train on a dummy, you can talk to Jamie Drucker in any city, and then it's as easy as just jumping on one of these dummies and start AFK training for as long as you want. And the buffs that I use, we're going to start off with the ones that you may already actually have popped. So if you have a value pack running, you get combat skill XP plus 30%. In addition, if you have a secret book of Old Moon, you also get combat XP plus 100% and skill XP plus 50%. And additionally, if you have a costume on, you also get combat XP plus 10% and skill XP plus 10%. Other really long lasting buffs are things like combat books. So if you have a sealed book of combat, you can get an additional 100% combat as well as another 50% on your skill XP. Now, let's go over some of the more temporary buffs. One of the main things that I do before AFK training is I grab myself some church buffs. Now, I do have some church buffs active right now, and they give me combat XP plus 10% as well as skill XP plus 15%. If you go to any major church in any major city, you can talk to NPCs and they'll give you Alienism's blessings here, and you can click that and you can get a roll for combat or skill XP. This can be as high as 15% for combat or as low as 5%, and you can go as high as 15% skill XP as well. And basically every time you pay, you're going to get a different buff. Now we have skill XP 15 and combat XP 15. Perfect. We got a max roll. I wouldn't bog yourself down on paying too much money. That costs us about 1 million silver to do those 2 clicks, and sometimes you're not going to get 15% on both. So I wouldn't really worry. I kind of just click it and leave. The other buffs that I like to run are crystal related. So in my gloves, I have got a 4 set of Macalod crystals. These allow me to get combat XP 1% for all 4 crystals, but then they also have a set effect that gives you an additional combat XP plus 5%. So that's a total of 9% bonus combat XP just for wearing those. There's also some Gervish crystals that you can wear that give combat and skill XP plus 1% that you can put in your weapon slots if you want. And those give an additional 5% combat XP and 3% skill XP when you have a 4 set. Then, of course, there is the Helmet of Hercules Might that I wear that gives me 20% combat XP just for having these crystals, which are easily purchasable off the market. Additionally, you might have even been given some of these crystals in your Black Spirit safe, for example, and they would be looking like these ones here. Kydex Adventures. These also give combat XP plus 10% as well, so you might have some of these if your market is a little bit flooded. Another really useful thing to check is your pets. Now, my pets here have combat XP on them. Right here, combat XP plus 5% on my natural skill that this pet has, but then there's also certain pets that give combat and skill XP. So this dragon right here gives an additional combat XP plus 4%, and I have the skill for combat XP. So if I was really trying to maximize my combat XP, I'd take out all those pets and get the additional bonus 4%. If you have dogs, you also could get skill XP gain if you don't have the combat XP. So that is another route that you can go, but definitely make sure you have your pets out. They do not need to be fed. They don't need to be on any setting. These are automatically just given to you as buffs for having the pets summoned. Another really easy buff is just a simple Cron meal. If you pop your simple Cron, you get combat XP plus 20% and skill XP plus 10%, which is really nice. And then, of course, you can also talk to your Black Spirit, and under the exchange function, you can get yourself for 200 energy, you can get an hour of combat XP plus 20% and skill XP plus 8%. So that's usually something that I do if I haven't yet used my energy on my character. And one of the last things in terms of buffs that are under your control is grabbing yourself a nice little tent buff. If you happen to have a Napart campsite, you can go to Villa Scroll and you can purchase the skill and experience buff for 3 hours. What this buff gives is it gives 10% combat XP and 10% skill XP for 3 hours, and it only costs 1.5 mil, so it's pretty reasonable for the amount of time that it lasts. Now, the last tip that I have is make sure that you're on a channel that is highly trafficked or highly populated. Now, this can be up into interpretation. I typically would AFK on Arsha, for example, but the reason why you want to be on a high traffic channel is the frequency of golden bells on that channel are probably going to be more than the average channel. And what golden bells do is when you pop a golden bell, everybody on that server gets 100% bonus combat XP for an hour. So you can have other people that are grinding and they'll pop their bell, and then you benefit off of that while you're training on a dummy. So if you go to Kelphion 2 or Arsha, or really whatever channel is overcrowded, if there's something like that, then try to take advantage of these golden bells. They pop just like this. They'll have an icon. It'll tell you just how long is left on the bell, but you're going to want to be on a channel that has as many bells as possible. Basically, that is it at that point. If you get all of these buffs, your very first hour should have about 472 bonus combat XP and 220 skill points. But after your first hour, that will drop off a little bit because of your 1 hour buffs running out. But that's all right. At least you got them for your first hour, and everything can kind of just flow from there. That's basically it, guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. We're going for 10,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.